Hello,
Hi.
and welcome to part 2 of Page Turner's Does the Cruel Prince.
Oh, wow. What a title.
I just thought of it there, just the inspiration just came to me. Today we're hoping to take you through books 2 and 3. They are Wicked King and Queen of Nothing.
So if you haven't listened to part 1,
Yeah.
probably better to go listen to that first and then come back.
Unless you don't want to, then alright, we're not your parents, we're not making you do anything.
Oh, do you like it? But that's how it's designed to be listened to, and we're not going to do all our usual gubbins at the start. We're just going to get right into it.
Oh yeah, we don't actually care how each other is.
No.
Not today.
No.
Straight into it. Straight away, we see Jude, and she is fucking killing it as a royal advisor.
Yeah.
Sort of. She's exhausted.
She's exhausted because Cardan is, as you would expect, a very spoiled kind of, as we said before, kind of like, yeah, baby girl prince. He's loving being the king, but he's in no way that interested in being a ruler.
He loves the status of being the king. He does not have the political mind to...
No. He likes the parties.
To even want to be the king.
No, not really. Likes the parties, likes the title.
He never wanted it. He never wanted it in the first book.
No.
And he has no intention of trying to keep it in the second.
No, he's purely there for the vibes, isn't he? King vibes. He's just like, yeah.
Cardan answers to a bunch of advisors.
Yeah.
And they don't understand why they keep seeing Jude. A, because he doesn't want to go, and B, because Jude is the real power.
Mm-hmm.
We see a bit more of her in the Court of Shadows.
Yep, we do.
And then we just see a bit more enemies coming out the woodwork.
Yeah, Baelkin's in prison right now.
He is been imprisoned, yes, for his crimes of murdering his entire family.
Yeah,
as he should be.
And we start to learn, as you say, that there's more than just the initial enemies to worry about. There's a few more coming out.
Yeah, there's more than just Baelkin, who keeps trying to send Cardan messages and manipulate him. You've got other people who are vying for the throne, such as Maddox, as always.
As always.
But then you also have Nicasia. She has her ties to the sea, in the undersea, and her mother Queen, who wants them to be married and allied together because she thinks she can manipulate and puppet Cardan and own it all, land and sea.
Absolutely. Yeah, Queen Orla of the undersea comes in as another player of this messy chessboard that we have got going on right now.
Absolutely, and you've got basically everybody, really.
Yes, we've got lots of different enemies coming out the woodwork. There's a lot more going on than we first thought, and a lot more betrayal to come as a running theme in this series.
I mean, ultimately, she's lost a lot of her closest allies as well, because Vivi is looking after Oak in the mortal world.
Yeah, so she's not really in any rush to come back, is she? Vivi has her own stuff going on
with Heather.
Which with Heather, I don't know if we meet Heather yet. I think that's when... Do we know her before the wedding invite?
I think so, yes, because they go and get her.
Great. Okay. Because Heather comes, so basically Taryn is about to marry Locke and and Heather comes to the wedding. So this is Vivi's mortal
girlfriend.
Yeah.
So there's Jude's lost an awful lot of her allies. All she has that essentially the only person that knows what's actually fully going on is Cardan, which is a bit of a joke really, because he tends to do nothing about it.
No.
The people who know, I suppose, the most is the Roach, the Bomb, and the Ghost, our Court of Shadows.
That's it. But isn't that so in keeping with it, to keep the characters in character, is that it's not as if Cardan instantly wants to like help her and like fight for good. He's just a bit like...
He is such a force for balance, I think. He cares not necessarily for good and evil. He cares for things that happen, and he cares for, like, similar to Locke in that the story is what draws Locke in. Cardan enjoys frivolity. Yeah.
I think Cardan would be loyal to people whether they had pure and good motivations or dark and evil motivations. Like, it's the people, isn't it? It's what the people are doing, and he hasn't really got a very strong moral compass whatsoever.
No, not really. And that's why he's perfectly morally grey. He does what he wants.
He really is morally grey. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, but he's actually a tortured soul and he's really a good guy. He's not. He's a fae. He doesn't think the same way.
I also think it's really important and really quite beautifully done in that he is morally grey, but he doesn't necessarily just murder people.
No. He's
Yeah.
also a coward, as we've talked about before. You know, he's not...
Self-professed as well.
Yeah. Very kind of like self-serving.
Mm.
Like, well, I'm going to look after number one here. You know, there's no sense in me running around killing people because I want to keep myself out the firing line as well. He's not out to look powerful and intimidating. He's just out to have cool parties and
he does
drunk.
have a sort of soft spot for Balkan. Or Balkan.
Is that more like a kind of
fear?
Stockholm Syndrome style? Like, because he's obviously been really terribly mistreated at his hand, it's almost like there's still that sense of he wants to impress his abuser.
That is really interesting. I wonder if another idea is he also out of sight, out of mind. If Balkan's in prison, then he's, you know, taken care of. He doesn't have to think about it, and Carden doesn't have to associate him with any pain or punishment or abuse. So either one of those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get a lot of Jude's frustration in this, her exhaustion, her just, you know, Maddox is furious with her, but also exceptionally impressed, and so she's essentially gotten what she wanted in the first book. She's gained power. She's gotten her father's approval from one way or another, and she's managed to keep Oak safe, her family safe.
Because she is extremely loyal to her family.
To her own detriment sometimes. And, you know, she's managed to overcome her schoolyard bully. Yeah.
So it's all looking good in the Rosy in the Garden for Jude.
Careful what you wish for, because it is I mean, how long is it
before she's betrayed?
Yeah.
I want to say about just maybe over halfway.
It's the wedding, isn't it? When they try and make it so that, because the Undersea are the trap for Orla. The Undersea is because they think they're going to take Oak, because again Oak can still crown the next king or queen, and they sort of have a little. This is an allyship between her and Maddox. Page 221, I wake at the bottom of the sea. Yeah.
So she's the ultimate betrayal, and she's taken to the Undersea as a kind of a prisoner, really, isn't she?
Yeah, a political prisoner. And we were saying it feels like a fucking long time.
It does the second time around. It didn't so much when I first read it, because I was interested in the Undersea, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and who was going to rescue her, and how was she going to get out of it. Now that you know how it all kind of turns out, you're like, right, let's just come on.
Yeah, and I just want to get to the bit where Carden rescues her,
exactly,
or trades, you know, for her. That is that's the best part of not the best part of the book, but it is very much just.
It's one of my favourite bits, yeah. Whereas this is one of my least favourite bits. So I think that's the other part of it, where I'm like, I know what's coming, and it's so good, and I don't really want to have to go through all this stuff before it.
Yeah. You basically find out that it's Balkan, or Balkan, Orla, Nicasia, the three of them together. Do we assume, because the ghost has betrayed her, his final lines to her is, I served Prince Dane, not you. Do we assume, because we do find out in The Queen of Nothing, that the ghost is under Maddox's control?
Do you assume it was actually Maddox had something to do with it?
As well, maybe.
I don't know, because I don't know if Maddox would do that. Or if he would do it, why? I don't know.
Because the ghost then explains the only reason he betrayed her is actually because he has to.
Yeah.
So, does Maddox tell Balkan? I forget whether it's explained whether Maddox tells Balkan his name. Anyway, it's nothing to dwell on.
Yeah, so she's a prisoner, and she still has the ability to resist enchantment.
Yes, that still plays a really big part. Prince Dane's sort of boon doesn't die with him in the first book, and he has this. Yeah, she's able to avoid any sort of compulsion. But
she lies, basically, and just plays along and pretends that she's doing all the things that Orla and Casey are asking for. So.
Yeah. The bits I really enjoyed is the glamour that they put upon the cave. It's not a grotty cave, it's a fabulous, gorgeous bedroom, and she's eating all these amazing meals, or she's eating like fucking shit and grot bags and stuff. And
really interesting seeing that through the lens of she knows it's a glamour.
Yeah.
You know, like she's having to sit there and be like, wow, yeah, like pretend that this isn't the most unpleasant thing.
Exactly. And she also then has to do the most unpleasant thing and get off with Balkan. Balkan. I've got to stop saying it wrong. She pretends that she's his.
Yeah.
And he tells her to go and kill Carden the second she gets a chance. And it's poison? She has poison?
Yes. He gives her poison for Carden. Because poison's a big thing in this series. They like to use poison to kill.
It is. She poisons herself. You know, but unfortunately we see the effects of, so even through in Wicked King, she's poisoning herself a little day by day, but then when she's in the Undersea, she has a month where she cannot poison herself.
Yeah.
And she goes through a withdrawal somewhat. And then, I don't think she starts again.
I don't think it's included if she does anyway, I don't think so. No, I can't remember it being mentioned again. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting that she's almost got the physical battle of how she's had to fight and learn to fight, but she also needs to learn to survive in Fae. You have to almost have more of a mental strength, don't you? It's not really about brute strength as such. Not if you want to get to the levels that Jude wants to get to.
Yeah.
And that the Undersea teaches her that.
She learns to play
like a Fae,
but also adoring mortal as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting, she really fully embodies her mortality whilst also remembering that she is a Fae.
Yeah, but it's almost like teaching her that she has to do that. It's like, although she's been kind of trying to, I don't want to accept I'm mortal, I don't want anything to do with that world, so you're going to have to use this thing about you that's so unique to win here. Like, you have to embrace this to win.
She sees that there's power in both. There's power to being a mortal, which is just beautifully written. Yeah. It feels like English literature, how we're just like, Holly Black's listening to this right now and she's like, I never intended that, guys.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Thanks. Thanks though. Thanks for the credit. I'll take it.
Yeah. No, the curtains were just blue. I didn't think anything of it. Like that kind of style.
We get a lot more sort of reluctant romance, some more tense scenes, some more of that. And we get our first sort of sex scene.
Yes, and it's a YA book.
Yep.
First and foremost, I don't think Holly Black would ever deny it. I don't think she wants it to be anything other than a YA. I don't think she changes her mind in the second book, whereas we see that quite commonly now, where maybe book one starts off as quite mild, maybe like Closed Door, and then it slowly ramps up the spice as the series progresses because the fans want that. I almost feel like
it becomes more of an adult book.
Yeah.
No, I think it's very suggestive in its language. It's very sensory.
Yeah.
But you don't get a lot. You get to fill in those gaps yourself.
You do. And it's very, very hot. There's not much more you can say than that. Some really great lines.
Yep.
I want to tell you so many lies.
Kiss me until I am sick of it.
Oh. It's that power play again, isn't it? Like, Jude feels that she's kind of letting her guard down, opening up to him, and that he's got the upper hand in this situation. But I think she's slowly learning, actually, that it's a lot more balanced than she maybe first thought it was.
Oh, I mean, come on. If you're the sickness, I suppose you can't also be the cure.
How does that scene end? Because it's the end of a chapter, isn't it? So how does that sexy scene end? What's the last thing that we're...
Like others, with an orgasm.
Oh, just the orgasm,
with an orgasm,
and nothing else.
And then, and the single last thing in my head that I like him better than I've ever liked anyone, and that all the things he's ever done to me, making me like him so much, is by far the worst.
I mean, enemies to lovers. That's it.
What I love about this is we are roughly halfway through the series. We are 1.5 books in, and she's only just discussing that she likes him.
She's only just like, yeah, I like him more than anyone else. Fine. Chilled it out of me.
It's interesting. I love the idea of what they see in each other.
Yeah.
He sees in her, I mean, from what I can gather, he sees in her a better world, and a salvation that he doesn't think he's good enough for.
Yeah.
And she sees in him power, but not necessarily power that she can use, but power in herself by fully embracing the her that he sees.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they both see a better version of themselves through the other.
Oh, that's so beautifully put. Well done. Yeah, no, that is so true.
And isn't that just the most lovely reason? You know, when you read sometimes and you think, yeah, it's hot, and yeah, they're attractive, and yeah, whatever, but why do they actually want to be together? You just don't feel that in this book.
It's never it's never more than skin deep, you know?
No, whereas this, it's like, totally understand why the other loves each other, so we haven't got to that part yet, but sorry, but why they feel the way they feel about each other. You buy it. You 100% buy it.
Yeah. So what else is all going on? You know, we Jude finds herself in the undersea for a month. Carden bargains her out. Oof.
Isn't that great though, that he doesn't come in like all guns blazing again, because he's not.
No,
he's not the knight in shining armour, is he?
That, and it's also taken him a month.
That's just great. It's just so, it's so in character.
I would be fucking pissed if I'd have had to spend a month down there.
I know, but I love it. I love that he doesn't come in on a white horse and scoop her up and like sword fight his way out. It's not his style. He's just like, it's only been a month. What are you worried about?
I think it is very much said like he doesn't really know what to do, right, without her.
No, he's lost. Like, she's his advisor, and he finally has to make a decision to see if he has to step up to the plate. And it's like, I'm not good enough to do this.
Yeah.
I can't think what to do.
But he finds it within himself. Because I'm pretty sure the council doesn't want her back.
No, they're not in support
of his decision. And he has to defy them.
Yeah. Yeah, he does, yeah.
So good. So, what does he promise the Undersea?
I can't even... Bargains, doesn't he? Because they're all about that.
I think he joins forces with Maddock.
I think he does, yeah. I don't know, my notes don't say it. It's just talking about Baelkin basically giving her the vial of poison, and then she sneaks into Carden's room and basically tells him this is what the plot is, sort of thing.
Yes. So, you promised her whole and hail. She ought to need no help. You have kept her in the damp and the cold for too long. Perhaps you no longer want her, Orla says. I will have her. Sounding both possessive and contemptuous at once. And so he agrees to make Baelkin the ambassador. It shall all be as we agreed. Okay. We are not yet at war, and we are not yet at peace, says Orla.
Okay.
Oh, so fit.
So to them, she's a bargaining chip, but to him, it's so much more, right?
Yeah, and Maddock tries to keep them away from each other.
And then we get reveal what Baelkin's kind of plan is in the end. So we think that he's using Jude to get close to Carden, to poison Carden, but actually he wants to frame Jude for someone poisoning Carden.
Yes, he comes to the party. He comes to the party just after she's brought out from the Undersea. It's she looks fucking class, isn't she? In some sort of like butterfly.
Yeah.
Or is that nice?
No, I can't remember. She always looks amazing though.
Oh, doesn't she? And essentially, she is given this vial that she is told you need to poison him. You know, the next time you have an opportunity, you poison him. And he comes in and he's what appears to be drunk and disrespectful to some of the courts. One of the courts wants vengeance against Baelkin and Orla because their mate was hurt.
That's right, yeah.
And this is the favour they call in for agreeing to support Carden in the first book, which is that they want Baelkin dead. Baelkin dead.
Yeah.
And for Jude to do it.
Yes.
And it actually all ties in really rather nicely, to be honest.
It really does.
But yes, no, someone has drugged Carden, and it's a poison that the bomb has seen or, before. And yeah, it's the poison that the bomb and the roach have seen, and she duels him for the poison.
For the antidote. Yeah.
And it's so clever what she does. She says that she's taken it.
That's right, yeah.
And that she wants him to give her the antidote, and if that is real, then if she beats him, she'll let him have it. he pours it straight into her mouth, I think, or something.
I think so, yeah.
And she spits it right back out into the empty bottle that she's just downed that was the poison. And gives it to the bomb to run and give to him. And she's just like, I lied, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Psych. Yeah.
Just imagine her just being there like,
no. Yeah.
Because Balekin just gives me this fucking like big dumb baby energy.
Oh yeah, he doesn't know what to do with the crown. Like, if he had the power, he would just be a bumbling idiot.
Yeah, he would just be cruel with it. Like, there would be no thriving, there would be nothing. He would just be...
Elfin would just basically...
He would be a maniac. Yeah. And she fights him, and she defeats him, and she fucking murders him.
Yay.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah, the combat scenes are good.
They really are. They're not too long.
No.
They're, not too technical.
No.
You can really see what is going on in your mind's eye.
It's not that sometimes you are a bit like, whose hands where are we now? Like, someone's on a backflip. Like, it's not like that. It's like, it's choreographed, but it's clean and quick and to the point and satisfying. Every time she kills someone, it's just like, yes.
Yeah, and it's basically just a waiting game for her then. She buries Balekin?
I can't remember.
No, she lets his body be found and just she gets the fuck out of Dodge, basically.
That's right. Yeah, but before that, we learn about second betrayal.
Go on.
Taryn.
Oh, fuck, I'd forgotten. I hate her so much.
So basically, when she goes back to Carden, he tells Jude, oh, I done what you asked. I've released Maddock of his duties. Like, you came to me and you asked and I did it. And she's a bit like, what the fuck?
Because he's in a bit of a soft state, right? Like, he's a bit like,
Yes.
So
he's obviously just been poisoned and etc.
So it's difficult for him to figure out the love of his life isn't in front of him asking for something.
Yeah, and it was fucking Taryn.
Again.
Betraying her again.
But also, I would have more respect for Taryn if she's betraying her through the need for something herself, through a selfish need. But she's not. She's doing it because she's been stupidly manipulated and thinks what she's doing is the best thing to do.
She's just an idiot.
She is a fucking idiot.
She is. I wouldn't care if she was just evil and owned it.
Right? That's it. If anything, I'd have more respect for her, and that's what you want. But no, she's a fucking idiot. We need to talk about the night before Taryn's wedding as well, because I fucking hate that scene.
Which scene?
Jude has bought her the beautiful earrings. She's riding over from the palace to Maddox's estate, and essentially she's set upon by a group of masked fae who cause her to lose the beautiful earrings, chase her up a tree. They managed to get her in the side of the leg.
They managed to. Yeah, definitely.
They managed to hurt her, and and then it's discovered the next day that it was fucking Locke was one of them. Because Taryn's wearing the earrings that were a gift from him.
I mean, it's just...
Brother, ooh.
Exactly. It's just like, and then, when she realises it, it's just heartbreaking. It's so sad that she just realises how often Taryn's going to just keep disappointing her all the time.
That's it. And also, I think she's not necessarily, like, forgiven Locke, but she has come to a point of peace where she almost is invested in her own power and doesn't think he can touch her. For her to then be set upon by 7 of them?
Yeah,
it's quite a brutal scene.
It is a brutal scene.
And I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. And
it's necessary, and I understand why, but I also don't like it.
I don't like it. No, totally get what you're saying, and it's that. It's just always that little reminder, isn't it, that you're never going to quite be accepted by them.
Yeah, for sure.
And she kind of. I think she forgets that sometimes. She lets her guard down sometimes because she does have that humanity that they don't have, where she has that belief that they could be better, that there may be good in them, and actually that's not how the Fae operate when it comes to humans.
No, it's not. And I think also there's something to be said to boil it down. Essentially, it's 7 men setting upon one woman, which is just in itself another sort of like You know, no matter how powerful you are, they're always going to want to take a piece of you.
It's not particularly victorious. It's not a great scene in terms of, like, it doesn't feel that, you know, oh yeah, of course she could overcome them all. Like, you know, it is quite humiliating for her. She's chased up a tree. She has heart.
She's soaking wet. It's like it's a very bearing scene.
It is. I
do not like it. Back to that. Yes.
No, totally. Yes, well remembered, because I totally forgot about that.
So, come out of the undersea. The ending. In between her murdering Baelkin and Baelkin's body being found, there is a deal between Jude and Carden.
Yes.
And Carden tells her to release him from his vow.
From his year and a day.
In exchange for total power over Elfhame.
Yes, we'll marry.
Yeah.
And you will become the queen.
And then, it gives you a ring. It's fucking lovely.
It is lovely for a bit.
And then it's discovered that Baelkin's body and
things all basically descend into because Jude is exiled.
She is. Until
you were pardoned by the crown.
Pardoned by the crown. Yeah.
So,
and that is how book 2 ends, essentially. We have her pardoned, we have her in the mortal realm with Vivi and Oak, and she just sits on the couch all day and watches television.
I think it's such a good ending because it's so mortal. Like, I think it says at the end they're sitting in the glow of the television, eating ice cream, and like Vivi's phone's buzzing with like messages coming through, and it's like so far
it's so
removed.
Mundane, it's so modern, it's so not fairy.
No, and Jude is just sat there like, what the fuck is happening?
She's broken.
Yeah, because he has fundamentally done the worst thing he could have done to her.
Yeah, she lets him in, she trusts him, and he betrays her.
Killing her would have been easier, I think, in her eyes. It would have been less of a betrayal than casting her out of Elfhame.
Especially when she says to them, I am the queen of Elfhame.
Oh, that's so sad.
And they laugh at her, and he says nothing.
And he laughs. But don't hate him too much, because Jude's not the brightest spark. But is that because she's been waiting for this moment? She's been waiting for him to betray her.
Oh, right. So she can't see anything else past the betrayal.
And she's never really felt good enough. And there's still that sense of, like, I'm not right. I don't belong here. I'm waiting for that other, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Could be said.
I think so. Queen of Nothing. Oh. It starts very much how a Wicked King ends, with Jude just hating the fact that she is trapped in the mortal realm.
Yeah, she's just miserable, isn't she?
Yep.
Heartbroken, betrayed.
Fucking stupid.
I know.
What does he say, Jude?
Listen, Jude, come on.
So I had to wait the year, or however long it was, between Wicked King. Did you yourself?
I don't think so.
Had to wait for
not
Queen
a full
of Nothing,
year.
Not for Queen of Nothing to come out.
Right, it wasn't a full year for me. Yeah.
I'm sure it was still painful though.
Oh yeah.
But the speculation, or straight away, immediately people were like, "Well, yeah, obviously she's the crown. He's married her. She can be pardoned. Wake the fuck up, Jude Duarte."
I know, but is it because I don't ever think of Jude as a stupid character?
No,
I think it's more a sense of she still just doesn't ever buy it, that she's got the happy ending, that things are going to be okay. It's almost she's waiting for someone to betray her, specifically Carden, and the more she opens up to him, this is going to be risky for her. It's going to put her in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, they've been intimate,
and this is what she expects of him.
Yeah,
he's going to do this to her.
Or this is what she expects for herself. You know, she can never be happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very good point. Is that she can't see the wood from the trees?
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, she's on the terrible time of it.
She is. She's doing she's being Fae for pay, essentially.
Yeah.
We find her taking on Grima Mog.
Yep.
Which is just a fucking fantastic scene.
Such a cool scene.
Grima Mog has been banished from the Court of Termites, which is like this sadistic fucking court where they've got like a harness that is stuck to the face of a little girl.
That's right.
Who is like the queen, but her parents rule her.
Yeah,
It's so creepy.
Yeah, it's very unsettling.
But perfectly Fae, like you said. We both agree that Holly Black really fully captures the folk.
It's kind of like, you know, in books you might have read in the past, you think, I would love to be in that world. I wouldn't want to be in Elfheim. Not as a human.
Not as a human, for sure.
Like, yeah, you wouldn't delude yourself into thinking you're going to be treated well.
No, absolutely not.
Because as beautiful as it is, there's a real dark and sinister side to it.
Yeah, I mean, let's go back straight to is it book 1 or is it book 2 where she finds the servant and
Book 1.
the lass puts the rocks in her pockets.
Yeah.
When they're trying to get her out, and she comes out from the glamour, and she's been there for months, and the things she's had to do.
And she remembers everything she's seen, had to do, all the disgusting things that's happened to her, and basically she'd rather die than actually
return to her life,
because she can't live knowing what she's been through.
That for me is a perfect scene as to why Jude almost gets off quite lightly. Like, a lot of shit happens to her under, like, you know, the bullies and everything, but nothing like that.
No.
And I wonder whether that is purely because of Maddox.
I think it is. I'd love to say there's a grudging acceptance. There's an element of, you know, the Fae accept her and think she is sort of on par with them, but I don't think it is. I think if Maddox wasn't offering his protection, then she'd be treated exactly the same way.
Yeah, mad. Anyway, so the Grima Mog, she's meant to go and tell her to stop eating humans, essentially. And Grima Mog is a well-known warrior, and that rivals Maddox.
Yeah.
And she fights her.
Yeah, get a great scene of that.
Oh, it's so good. And like you were saying about the fight scenes in Wicked King, like, this is no exception. This is so beautifully written and choreographed almost onto the page, and she plays her the you know, with the red cap, and threatens it, and it's it's perfection.
That is perfection. She still got it. That's our
that's it. And she almost finds a bit of herself again, I think. Yeah. In that. But then she comes home. And who's home, Amy?
Oh, Taryn's there.
Taryn's home, baby.
Taryn's back. And is she back because she feels bad? Is she back because she regrets what she did and she wants to make it up to Jude? No, she's back because, again, she has a selfish reason to be back.
She's pregnant. She's killed Locke. And she's about to be fucking put under a glamour to tell the truth.
Yep. And basically she wants Jude to go back to Elfheim and disguise herself and play the part of Taryn because Jude has the ability to resist the enchantments.
Thank you, Prince Dane.
And it's like, wow,
I will only come back
asking.
to you
Yeah.
when I need something.
Yeah, you still want more. It's just take constantly.
True villain of the series.
Absolutely. And way more Fae.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Again, like, she doesn't... Yeah, that real sense of selfishness and self-preservation and no loyalty to Jude, no love for her family in that way, whereas Jude has... She knows Jude will do anything for her family and she absolutely manipulates her to do it.
I don't think there's a real scene where Taryn redeems herself.
I don't think so.
Like, she's part of Jude's court and she dresses her and there's an element of that, but it's not enough.
Jude doesn't do it. Jude doesn't. It's just not her way, is it? She's not going to do anything to really get revenge and really sort of put her in her place. So in such a way that it would be bloodthirsty, or you know, she still feels like that's my sister.
Yeah,
and it's so sad.
Oh, fucking hell, Jude. Basically, I feel like Vivi sort of guilts her into it in a way.
Yeah, kind of. It's a bit like, oh, but if you don't, you know, Taryn will be killed, and like she can't lie, and you're sentencing her to death basically if you don't agree to do this. I mean, what can she possibly say?
Yeah. What other than no, you know?
Yeah.
So she goes.
And
back. Something we haven't mentioned is the only difference between the two of them is that Jude is missing the tip of her ring finger.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it her little finger on her left hand? Because it was bitten off when she was a child just by a member of the Fae. Or the folk.
I think it was just that the part where we were building up the story of how hard won it had been for them to be accepted, and how basically the Fae were so cruel, and we got that detail.
So she has to fill a glove, or she has to wear gloves.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, she looks exactly like Taryn. She goes to Taryn's estate. She fits in with the servants and everything. Taryn's explained, you know, what she did. The fact that Locke just came up and said that, you know, Taran was no longer interesting to him, and she just stabbed him in the neck with a fucking letter opener.
Yeah.
That's the best thing Taran's ever done.
It is. And it's a shame that she has no follow through, because she's such a coward that she was like, well, I don't want to get in a blaze of glory for what I did. I want you to go and solve all my problems for me, please.
Well, yeah, it's blaze of glory, or even just fucking, like, answering for the crimes that you commit.
Yeah.
Other than the crime of fucking being betray your sister. As you can tell, I'm very annoyed.
I get it. Totally get it. So we go back to Elfheim.
We do.
And Jude does pretty well in the trial.
Yeah, I mean,
plays her case well. Plays the part of someone under a
she's
enchantment
put under a
really
glamour.
very well.
She is asked questions.
Yeah. They're all still a little bit distrusting.
They're suspicious of her, but there's nothing they can do because she's answered the questions.
Yep.
And Carden brings her into his rooms, his offices, or whatever.
Yeah, he said, I just want to interrogate her a little bit more, just because I'm the king and I just want to have a final, like, you know, just ask a few more questions.
Yeah.
And right away he says,
well, what does he
Jude,
say?
I know it's you, basically. You're not fooling me. I know it's you. Because he knows her. Oh.
Yeah, it's, well, he says, patting the couch beside him, didn't you get my letters? What? I'm confused enough that the word comes out like a croak. You never replied to a one, he goes on. I began to wonder if you'd misplaced your ambition in the mortal world. This must be a test, this must be a trap. Your Majesty, I thought you brought me here to assure you I neither charm nor amulet. I will if you like. Shall I command you to remove your clothes? I don't mind. What are you doing? I finally reply. What are you playing at? He's looking at me as though somehow I'm the one who's behaving strangely. Jude, you can't really think I don't know it's you. I knew you from the moment you walked into the bruff. Bruff?
I don't know, but oh wow.
Fuck it. That's not possible. He stands up from his couch, his gaze intense. Come closer. My counsellors told me that you met with an ambassador from the Court of Teeth. Oh, sorry guys, Court of Teeth, not the Court of Termites. That you must be working with Maddox now. I was unwilling to believe it, but seeing the way you look at me, perhaps I must. Tell me it's not true. I'm not the betrayer here. Sorry, I'm just gonna... Should I just read the whole book?
Just read the whole book,
yeah?
To be honest.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. Yes, so Carden has been writing Jude letters.
Oh, yes.
That were never received. And basically he thinks the reason, it's that miscommunication trope, but it's done well because there's a reason why each of them have, basically there's a reason why they might distrust each other. It's like, well,
that's built in, you know, they've never had really great communication. Would you like to read your favourite bit of the letters?
I will read my favourite bit of the letters.
Guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, if you literally just Google Carden's letters to Jude,
comes up straight away.
It will come up. Someone has them on a blog. I've got them here, or I'm sure they're somewhere.
Yeah. So it says, Jude, you are in no mood for games. Very well. I'm in no mood for them either. Let me write it outright. You are pardoned. I revoke your banishment. I rescind my words. Come home. Come home and shout at me. Come home and fight with me. Come home and break my heart if you must. But just come home. Come home, because he does see her as part of Elfheim and it is her home. That's so lovely.
And he wants to be her home, and it's just the arc for Carden of his acceptance of how he feels for Jude and the fact that it's not a weakness is just top tier.
It's brilliant. If you read this book for no other reason, read it for the character development of Carden, for sure.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you wouldn't believe when you first meet him just how he's going to be at the end. And remain entirely in character the whole time.
You have always known what I am and seen all my failings, all my weaknesses and scars. I flattered myself that at moments you had feelings for me other than contempt, but even were that true, they would make but a thin gruel beside the feast of your other greater desires. And yet my heart is buried with you in the strange soil of the mortal world, as it was drowned with you in the cold waters of the undersea. It was yours before I could admit it, and yours it shall ever remain. Carden.
Oh,
I mean, the last one as well is just the page of Jude, harking us back to the first book, except the last two words are please, Jude.
Oh.
He fully puts himself at her mercy. He fully puts himself beneath her, begs her,
absolutely,
pleads with her
to
come home.
It's just lovely because she thinks that he betrayed her. It was all just a ruse to kind of banish her, and and whereas he thinks, oh, you didn't, you also were playing a part. You never really had feelings for me either. And it's like, no,
and
no,
it's so
no.
easy for him to see that because he doesn't think he's worth anything. Just like she doesn't.
Yeah.
They've both been brought up to see themselves as lesser.
Absolutely.
And only in each other can they see more.
Oh, beautifully said.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Right, so, but no sooner have they been reunited, they are torn apart. Maddox comes to Taran's rescue, like the unfortunate cuckold. Sorry. Like the unfortunate cockblock he is.
Mm-hmm. Because that'd been a perfect scene of yes, reunited.
So passionate.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have maybe just hashed out all they needed to hash out, broken some furniture, etc.
Oh yeah.
Basically, he takes her. They take her back to the camp. Maddox is having an insurrection against the king. He's got a few courts on his side. It's the Court of Teeth that he is sort of allied with, which is why we find that Grima Morg has left because she's not happy with that.
Yeah, the kind of real evil court.
And so basically Jude is back to pretending to be Taran again.
Yeah.
How boring if in a land of Judes and you've got to be Taran.
Exactly. Yeah, she has to lower herself to be Taran. It's like, ugh.
It's such a weird thing, but I never imagined that they actually look alike.
Me neither. I didn't realise that until this book. I was like, oh, were they identical twins? Even
though I know they're identical twins, I cannot put Taran on any level next to Jude.
No.
So I see Taran as blonde. How weird is that?
Oh, just like we would talk about like blonde men being like
lesser and shit.
Yeah, all the time. That's really interesting. Yeah, I think as soon as she walked, I was like under no illusion when she walked into the court, like that Carden would know it was her straight away. It was obviously going to know, right? Because you hold yourself differently.
Yeah.
You're way more self-assured as a person, although she's playing a part. She can't turn that off, she's...
I mean, also, he knows his woman.
Oh.
He knows his queen.
Oh, yeah.
So we get a few chapters, which I quite like. I thought I wouldn't the second time. I'd completely forgotten it had happened. But I actually quite enjoyed her sneaking around. It's mercifully short. Like, I think if it goes on any longer and she finds the ghost, she realises why the ghost betrayed her, because Maddox knows his true name.
Yep. Yeah.
And that is an ability that they can use to keep you trapped as a slave. And yeah, she plans to get out of there. She plans to take the ghost with her, get back to Elfheim, and claim her crown, basically.
Yeah, basically.
But before she can, she is interrupted by Carden, who comes for her with the bomb, with the roach, and with Vivi and Taran. Because they're there, because are they the ones that go to Carden, I think, or he writes to them?
I think he writes to them. Anyway.
And then we discover that Maddox knew all along, and has sent the ghost to kill Orla. It's like, fuck's sake, Maddox, keep it in your pants. I know you're not fucking anyone, but can you just keep your little bloodlust inside yourself somehow?
Yeah. He's it's a tough character, isn't it? Because he's got this natural baser instinct where he's not human, he's not fae, he's something entirely different, and he definitely like the added bloodlust and the war strategy and the love of war definitely seems to put him a step above cruelty, because most of the other fae that you see they're self-serving, but self-serving to a point where as long as they're not bored, they're okay. They just like chaos, don't they? It's almost like, I want something to entertain me. Yeah, that's it. It's frivolity. It's that sort of thing. Whereas Maddox is all about power and seizing that. And even if he was in charge, Jude knows that he would start a war on other to satisfy realms. His desire for blood. Yeah, she knows that. Yeah, and it's a tough character to kind of dislike or like, really, because he is very much a father figure to
Yeah.
her, and it's hard going that she has to accept that about him. That
Well, we feel how she feels.
Yeah.
Right. We want his approval for her because we want her happy.
Yeah.
So that's really difficult. But then what happens? We basically get them back at the court.
Yep.
They have a parley with Maddox.
Mm-hmm.
And they realise that it's all a fucking trick. And essentially, it's a vote. Carden puts it down to a vote.
Mm-hmm.
This scene is such a full circle moment of his character development, of him realising that he does want the crown. And asking the people of Elfhame to believe in him.
I was just going to say, but he wants it for the right reasons now.
Yeah, no, of course.
He wants to be a benevolent king. He wants people to back him. He doesn't want to be a dictator. He doesn't want to take the crown through power, and he wants to be able to get support from the court and be believed.
Yeah.
What
we haven't really spoken about is all the way through, especially 2 and a bit of 3 that we have until this moment. There's a prophecy running throughout where it's said that Carden specifically will be the one to break the crown and to destroy the line, essentially, to usher in for the greatest ruler that Elfhame's ever known. My God. And that comes to pass because he snaps the crown in half.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful, and we know that he's tied to the land. We know that Jude is tied to the land as well because she gets Maddox hurts her quite badly.
Yeah.
And she tells them to pack her wound with dirt
in
the soil, and the dirt heals her.
Yeah.
And Grima Mog's there, and she fucking swears her loyalty to Jude.
She bends the knee, and she's like, "You are the true queen."
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's when, she basically later on makes Grima Mog takes over Maddox's old position of Master of War or Lieutenant or General or something.
Yeah.
It's really fucking cool. It's a cool position.
It's a great position. Yeah, so he breaks the crown to fulfill the prophecy, but unbeknownst to him, the crown is cursed.
Yes, by the little fucking dick. And we didn't talk about it in the last one because he's just fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And he's basically like a little twatty armourer. And he's just like, I like to put curses on all me things.
Yeah.
It's basically where Jude gets the earrings from for Taran.
That's it, yeah. And the curse turns Carden into a fucking huge snake.
A massive fucking black snake.
Yeah. And
the world and the floor splits in half and everyone's like, fuck, get out.
Yeah.
And then basically, everyone's trying to control the snake, kill the snake, thinking that...
This bit's there's a whole bit going on. There's the bridal and it's all a bit...
With the quarter teeth and that weird shit. And it's all...
Yeah.
I think for this bit, the main bit I try to focus on is Jude ruling by herself.
Yes, okay, fair enough.
And sort of gathering her people around her, securing her position, dressing the way she does, setting up a court outside to...
Not just being motivated by, that's my boyfriend, I want to rescue him from being a snake. She's very much I know, but there's a bigger picture here and I need to focus on this.
Well, she thinks he's dead.
Yeah, exactly. She can't descend into mourning and lose the run of herself, can she? She can't wallow in it. She has to be like, no.
And I think there's a part of her that believes that even if he is dead, she owes it to him to keep Elfhame out of the hands of those that would take it from him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just amazing. And for this bit, this is probably my least favourite bit of the whole trilogy.
Me too.
There's a fuckload of faffing around.
There's a lot of characters that come in and come out. There's a lot of plotting and scheming going on. And because you want them to be together, this was the part that not so much my second read, but in my first read I remember being a bit come on,
Yeah, I think for me there's too many different plot paths that this could go down. Like you said, there's the bridal, then there's Maddox, then there's sort of her ruling by herself, then there's also I like the bit where she creates her own Queen's Guard.
Yeah.
That's fun. And there is those elements of her coming into her power, but then also, the snake's been sighted, or you can, the snake doesn't attack her, which reason enough to know.
She's not.
But it's fine. She ain't the brightest spark, is she?
I think she's just quite a pessimist. I just don't think
Very
she
true.
thinks anything good's going to come of anything. And you're like, come on, magic at this point. Like, there's more that could happen here. Don't just assume right away that he's a snake and he's dead. Like, if he became a snake, he can unbecome a snake, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. So eventually she takes the bridle with the intent of controlling the snake and continuing to cement her position as Queen of Elfhame. She fucks it off and decides not to. She has a big old fucking sword.
Yeah, because she realises the bridle is a trap again.
Yes, she's told that it's a trap by someone in the court. Someone in the Court of Teeth. Basically, she'd bind herself and Carden under the rule of the Court of Teeth, who had that bridle. No, thank you. The less said about those guys, the better.
Yeah.
At this point, we also have the Roach, who is currently unconscious in a little coma, and you find out that the bomb loves him.
Oh, yeah.
And you get this beautiful little backstory of them.
Lovely.
And it's just,
just as we said, that they are fleshed out full characters. It's just so well done.
I think it keeps Jude remembering what she's fighting for other than Carden, you know?
Yes, and I love that. I love the fact that she doesn't only think about, because Jude's not a selfish character at all.
Unlike our fucking sister.
Yeah, she's like the exact opposite of selfish, isn't she? Like, she's to her own detriment, as you said before. She's so far removed from that way of thinking. So we know that her motivations aren't just about herself and him, and it's much more about, as you say, there's a bigger picture. More people stand to gain from her taking power and keeping it. And then we get to the point where eventually Jude decides to kill the snake.
That she does.
And thankfully, as gambles go, that one kind of pays off because Carden comes back.
Yeah, she cuts the snake. There's almost like a public forum, isn't it? An arena.
Yeah.
She cuts the snake down the middle with this fucking awesome sword.
Yeah.
Great.
It's a cool scene.
And then he emerges, covered in blood, naked as a baby.
He does.
And
he's back.
Yeah, is proclaimed as the, well, if you want to borrow a line from Game of Thrones, the prince that was promised.
Yep, and they say they love each other. It's a straight away, isn't it? It's as soon as he's back, she says it.
I think so, yeah, because he says it to her before.
I love that because it's a sense of like she's not messing about anymore. She doesn't care about her own ego anymore.
I think she says that. There's something to that. She says, I wish I'd let go of my own fears, and that kept me from being.
I know what you mean, exactly. Holding her back from opening up to him, isn't it? And it's like if I had the chance again, I would tell him I love it. So as soon as I get the opportunity to, if I ever do.
She thinks about not doing it, doesn't she? And then she says, no, we're going to, and it's just beautiful. And this is when we realise that the prophecy, as all prophecies, have been read all wrong. And we realise that ultimately he is going to be the greatest, or them two together will usher in the greatest rulers that Elfhame is.
That's it. They are the New Dawn as a team. It's not one leader as such. We have a sex scene in this book.
We do. Sorry.
It's allowed for that. I feel.
Thank you.
It's been a long time coming.
It has, and it's it's beautiful. Like the intimacy scene in the second book, it's very flowery. It's sensory,
very much so.
And I'd say we're looking at like a peeking around a door as opposed to a closed door, open door.
You're
situation.
not getting any descriptions of any body parts doing anything. It's all very euphemistic, isn't it?
We are getting your absolute favourite description of the first time a penis is in a vagina, though.
The bright spark.
Yeah, bright spark of pain.
Every time. Come on, Molly. I didn't think you would do that. But you did, and we can allow some flaws. We get the standard, don't we? That she loses virginity and it's like painful but great.
Well, it's one push, painful.
Yeah, and then instantly pleasurable, and she has a brilliant time and orgasms.
And you know what? I'm not gonna begrudge her for it because she's gone through. It's been hard won.
She deserves it.
She's gone through a lot.
Get yours, girl. Go for it. Carden has a tail.
He does have a tail.
Time with that.
And he wraps it around her calf.
It kind of does it. I like the fact that it almost like does it like instinctively.
Almost like it's just claiming her round her calf. Yeah. the bit where she lowers herself before him.
It's one of the hottest bits ever. Yeah, basically she says, "Is this what you imagined it would be like when I surrendered to you? I'd be like on my knees." And he's like, he can't lie, so he has to say, "Yeah." And I imagined that you would say I could do anything I wanted to you. It'd be grovelling, begging. He does kind of laugh at his own fantasies. It's a bit like, I don't think like that now. Like, I don't see you only in that position anymore.
I think he's realised that he no longer wants to have power over her. He wants to have power with her.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Lovely. Absolutely. And isn't that great that he can kind of laugh at himself and be like,
I feel like he does an awful lot of laughing at himself.
He does, yeah.
He's probably the character that takes himself the least seriously throughout
a lot of humility the whole time. Yeah.
Which is crazy for a spoiled little brat prince.
I do have to talk quickly about the epilogue.
Go for it.
Because I love it.
Yep.
And I particularly love the part that I go out and get pizza. Like, they're all in the mortal realm. Carden's there too. Which is so cute. And they go get pizza, and I think it's a bit like a Burger King crown, you know, like that old school cardboard crown that you used to get. And it says they all must be having their pizza and wearing a crown each. And it says Carden looks at his reflection in the door of the microwave and adjusts his crown so it's at an angle.
Because that's what he does when he first wears the crown of Elfheim, is he fucking, or Queen Mab's crown, when he just jaunts it.
He like styles it, like, I'm still me.
It's
perfect.
Just love it. It's Holly Black is very good at like harkening back to bits in her book, which makes me think the way she's plotted it all out, it's very purposeful in bits.
I can see this epilogue being written quite early on.
Right.
I think because I love it. The little kind of toast they do. So it's, I raise a plastic glass to family, and Fairyland, says Taryn, whatever Taryn. And pizza, says Oak. Cute. And stories, says Heather. And new beginnings, says Vivi. Carden smiles, his gaze on me, and scheming great schemes.
Oh. I actually nearly cried.
I know. I cry at the end of this book all the time. I just think it's just it's such a satisfying conclusion. They go through so much, but it feels truly happy at the end. You know.
Yeah, it gives me, it's not a perfect, like, 20 years down the line and they're, you know, all okay, everything's fine.
You have children, like...
It's very much, you know it's going to be okay because they've overcome this, and if anything, they can overcome anything else coming.
And the relationship's still quite new. They're still letting their guard down around each other, and it's still that sense of, like, the kind of the early days of being in a relationship, and it's very cute.
It's just the bit after they've had sex. She sort of says, I think of his riddle. How do people like us take off our armour one piece at a time?
Oh, love that. Oh, that sums it up, doesn't it? They're still
trusting each other.
Learning to trust each other.
And I suppose learning to trust entirely, not just each other. They've only ever really been able to rely on themselves.
Very true.
Okay, the whole series as a whole. Couple of questions. Which is your favourite book?
Oh dear. 1.
Interesting. Okay.
What about you?
2. Wicked King.
Yeah.
I think only because I love the building on Jude's power, the fact that we do get an eventual payoff from them, and it's like, kissy, kissy, kissy. Yeah, I think I love the wedding scene, even though it's just the two of them. It's such a perfect contrast to Taryn and Locke's wedding. It's weird, it sounded like I was nearly sick when I said Locke's name, because I was. But like...
Oh, can you find their wedding scene?
How did I find it?
No, can you find it? I'd like to hear it. I love that they're married, like, so much of it, and you just don't refer to that ever. I actually wonder if we'll get that, if there's ever mention of that in Stolen Air, or like the next one where it does mention the fact that they had another like ceremony or something.
Okay, I've got it here. Okay. So what do we do? I think of Taryn's wedding and the part of the ceremony we did not witness. I think of my mother's wedding too, the vows she must have made to Madoc. And abruptly a shiver goes through me that I hope has nothing to do with premonition. It's simple, he says, moving to the edge of the chair. We pledge our troth. I'll go first, unless you wish to wait. Perhaps you imagine something more romantic? No, I say quickly, unwilling to admit to imagining anything to do with marriage at all. He slides my ruby ring off his finger. I, Carden, son of Eldred, High King of Elfheim, take you, Jude Duart, mortal ward of Maddock, to be my bride and my queen. Let us be wed until we wish for it to be otherwise and the crown has passed from our hands. As he speaks, I begin to tremble with something between hope and fear. The words he's saying are so momentous that they're surreal, especially here in Eldred's own rooms. Time seems to stretch out. Above us, the branches begin to bud as though the land itself heard the words he spoke.
Oh, that's so cute.
Catching my hand, he slides the ring on. The exchange of rings is not a fairy ritual, and I'm surprised by it.
Oh.
Your turn, he says into the silence. He gives me a grin. I'm trusting you to keep your word and release me from my bond of obedience after this.
Oh.
I smile back, which maybe makes up for the way I froze after he finished speaking. I still can't quite believe this is happening. My hand tightens on his as I speak. I, Jude Duart, take Carden, High King of Elfheim, to be my husband. Let us be wed until we don't want to be, and the crown has passed from our hands. He kisses the scar on my palm. I still have his brother's blood under my fingernails. I don't have a ring for him. Above us, the buds are blooming. The whole room smells of flowers.
I mean... Oh, yeah. Perfect for them, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And he gave her a ring, just because he knows she's mortal.
A ring he's just taken off her finger, right?
Yeah. I assume he just takes it off one finger and puts it on another one or something.
Yeah, probably.
But sweet, the fact that he even knows about mortal marriage.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder where he...
The customs, why does he know that?
I like it, though.
Oh, that's lovely. And I thought the fact that she's...
Oh, no, he's taken the ring off of his finger. It is her ring, but he's been wearing it on his finger because he nicks it from her, doesn't he? Amy's face right now, guys. Just crumpling.
Love it. Yeah. Okay, you had another question for me. I'm sorry to sidetrack you.
Oh, it's absolutely fine. Whole series, favourite and least favourite character, and why. You can only pick one.
Okay. Favourite, because of the character development, has to be Carden. Least favourite, Taryn, 100%. Not because what she does is the most cruel, like on paper, but because she uses Jude's good qualities against her. I just think it's unforgivable, and she never really gets. She's at the end in the epilogue, like eating pizza with them all. Just
she never
like
gets a comeuppance,
she never
right?
learns at all.
Yeah, she. How does she look in the mirror and knows that the face she sees is the face she betrays?
She's just with them all, like, yeah, I'm having a great time. Don't worry about it. No, she's the worst. What do you think?
Interesting. I think I would have to agree with you. Carden is my favourite character. For his character development, but also because he remains completely resolute all the way through the trilogy. That, you know, less so in one, but like Jude is what he wants, and he will do whatever he can to have her with him in whatever capacity. And that is just, you know,
Yeah, even the vow though that he can't. I don't know if it's his vow. I'm not sure, but the fact that it's like, let us be wed until we no longer wish to be, or it's just he doesn't want her ever against her will. He'll take whatever he can get from her.
Yeah, and he knows that he'll never not wish to be with her.
Yeah. Oh.
So perfect. My least favourite. I think I'll choose someone different. Do you know I'm going Vivian?
Okay.
We haven't really talked a lot about her, and we're running out of time. But I think ultimately, she does care about them, but she's too angry at Maddock to really.
Yeah, that she lets it cloud her judgment too much.
Yeah, and I think she still forgets, and I suppose she is Fae, or half Fae, so she does have that element of, you know, lack of emotion, but, you know, the way she glamours Heather, without a second thought, she does get better in Wicked King, and in Queen of Nothing, and she does agree to go on a quest and everything like that, but it just seems even that everything's a bit of a game to her.
Yeah. She
does get better in Queen of Nothing, but I mean, is she as bad a sister as Taryn? I don't know. Maybe
she's not great because she knows how badly treated they are, and she never really does anything to step up to help them.
That's it. She rallies against the idea of Fae. She rallies against her father, but she never rallies against those that would seek to harm.
No.
But then, do I think that Jude and Taryn keep a lot of what they experience to themselves? because they know that a lot of the nobility are Vivi's friends.
Maybe.
Or at least, you know.
But wouldn't you have an idea?
You'd know, right?
People
You'd see how they treat other mortals.
Yeah.
And
wouldn't you worry? Wouldn't you think, oh, I know how they treat mortals, and my sisters are mortals, and I care about them.
Oh, sorry. So is my girlfriend.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like with her, with Heather, that's an interesting relationship. I think she gets better.
Yeah.
And it definitely becomes a healthier relationship as it goes on. But she has, it's a hard lesson for Vivi to learn that you can't just glamour people and manipulate them.
Yeah, for sure. And I like at the end that she comes to Heather and, you know, she's up front, she straight away, she says, this is me, and, you know, she's not glamoured, and Heather's clearly there at the epilogue, not got her memories back, I don't think, because she said, you know, you can give me my memories back when I fall in love with you, or whatever.
Yeah.
But knowing that everything from the beginning. So maybe she already does have her memories back, I'm not sure, we don't
Not
get
quite
it.
sure how far in advance far in the future the epilogue is, but yeah.
Basically, from what I can say, everybody sucks except from Jude and Carden.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the sort of lower characters and the court shadows. Yeah. And do you remember the setup for the Ghost and Taryn's relationship?
No.
He longingly looks at her.
Okay. Alright.
So,
interesting.
Maybe we will read the next series. Neither of us have read Stolen Heir or The Prisoner's Throne yet. I think if it's going to be a trilogy, we could probably afford to wait.
It's just a bit strange why we haven't done that, because it seems the kind of thing that I would have read quickly, but I don't think it got hugely well rated.
Oh, really?
But then again, this book is quite polarising, because people who want fantasy romance find it lacking, I think. It's not quite as...
Well, he's not really there for some of it, so he's a big giant fucking snake.
Okay, so, to sum up.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to do the if you like this, because we already know we like this, right?
Yeah.
This is it.
We would recommend this to anyone.
Yeah. Anything similar you've read? Just more for me, just to kind of...
more for you to have some Rex.
Yeah. And for the people, because if you have read this book and you loved it, then I'm sure...
I'll tell you what I really like, and it's a bit of a fucking separation away. I'll try not to recommend more Fae. Although... Okay, I've got two Rex. So, the Air Awakens series by Elise Cover.
Oh, okay.
So each one is like alliteration. Air Awakens, fire falling. It's sort of court intrigue. It's politics. It's promised marriages. It's great.
Is it enemies to lovers? Is it that why you're recommending it? Or is it because it's court intrigue as opposed to a similar relationship?
I think it's court intrigue. It is. I wouldn't say it's enemies to lovers. It becomes a bit of a messy relationship. You know, he's a prince and she's not.
Love it.
Essentially, she's a librarian.
Is he a Carden prince?
He is also dark and quite grumpy.
So different, slightly.
He's
not like a spoiled little prince.
No, he's more military.
Okay, cool. Like it. Yeah.
But I'd say there's nothing that's ever probably going to come across. I can't find another Carden.
Not outside fanfiction.
And then I would say for something completely different, not Fae, you've got Ace of Shades, the Shadow Game trilogy by Amanda Foody.
Nice.
It's like, it's enemies to, it's sort of allies to lovers to enemies to lovers. It's a roller coaster. The magic system's really cool. It's all sort of set in one city that's like Sin City almost.
Cool, like it.
And yeah, no, I would highly
Why
recommend.
Is it similar? What makes you think about The Cruel Prince when you read it?
I think the relationship between the two characters, and also there is a really strong group around them.
Love that. So we've got a nice cast of supporting characters.
Yeah,
great.
And it really, I think it fleshes out the world building just as much as Holly Black fleshes out the world of the Fae. Amanda Foody really does very well with her lore and her building of the worlds. What about you? Have you read anything that is...
I think, no, but I think it's maybe to say why that is and what it is that makes this book special, and why the relationship in particular is special, is that it's hard to kind of summarise it. It's not tropey. You couldn't say it's enemies to lovers because there's more depth to it than that. You know, you couldn't say that it's
forced proximity because there's more depth. Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? That's what makes it so good. I think that's why it's hard to find something like it. You could read another book about a spoiled prince, but would there be another Jude? You know, you need both of them for the relationship to be the way that it is, for the dynamic to be as compelling as it is. So yeah, I'm chasing that high, to be honest. So if anybody listening knows of another book that has similar vibes to Cardan, please tell us.
If you have any recommendations that you want to tell the masses, please tell us, and we'll shout them out in another episode. But it has been an absolute pleasure reading this series.
It has. We hope you enjoyed it. We took a bit of a gamble, a bit of a risk doing a two-parter. We've never done it before.
Nope.
We might do it again.
Maybe.
Depending on feedback. Please let us know if you enjoyed it.
And what series you'd like us to read.
Yeah. We don't have. It doesn't have to be a reread, right? We're
no,
quite open to reading a new series, but doing it like this.
For sure, but also please don't let it be shit.
Yeah, please don't. Not after this one.
No, that's how tough is that?
Would you? We don't ever do a rating system.
Ooh,
for a reason.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
But I think that sometimes in your head there are like the books that you just think there's no notes, right? Like that's it.
Yeah.
Would you class this book series as absolutely no notes?
No.
Okay. Why?
Because of the way that Queen of Nothing, she spends too long faffing about with the snake.
Right. Great. I think it's good to have a bit of balance.
And that she spends too long in the undersea. But I think that's personal preference. I understand why it's done that way, because there'd be no dread if she didn't spend that long in the undersea. She herself says she's losing herself, and she's losing. She's probably going to die because she's going to starve. And then with the snake, there'd be no point in him being turned into a snake to then turn back into a snake if it was an overnight thing. But no, I think we're always going to have notes though, right?
You won't. I don't think it will. The reading it, you will suffer if you've never read these before.
No.
But reading them again, being in the undersea, faffing about with the snake, you're a bit like, come on.
But then on the plus side, you gain more detail.
You do.
You gain a bit more like,
yeah,
because you know what's coming, and it's such a good journey, and it's such a good ride, and I truly believe what Victoria Aveyard says is true, that Holly Black is the queen of the Fae.
And I think that we need to leave it there.
There we go. Happy reading, guys. See you next time.
Bye.